Hey everybody, Jeffrey Powers from Geekazine here, and we're going to talk to Vint Cerf in a second about people-centered internet next. All right, here we are, Jeffrey Powers with Geekazine. We're here with Vint Cerf, and we're talking about the people-centered internet, IEEE Tech for Humanity series. But I'm really excited about this people-centered internet.
I can tell.
So, of course, I'm excited to talk to you. Of course, being a geek myself, running my podcast, The Day in Tech History. I've talked about you several times in the last 10 years about what you've done. How do you get the internet there? And that's what you're working on. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, it's always been my job to get more internet everywhere. And at this point, we're only half done. The statistics say that about half the world is online. That means that we have another 3.5 billion people to go. There are lots of different ways for this to happen. There have been commercial initiatives that get the internet out there. The particularly powerful technology is mobile phones and especially smartphones. And there's been enough economic demand for those that people have entered into the internet community in a sense almost by accident because their smartphones get them online. But that's not going to get the last billion users online, and that's what I care about a lot. There are lots of initiatives right now that are looking at the basic infrastructure. So, for example, Google has been looking at putting balloons at 60,000 feet. We call it the Loon Project because it's frankly a little loony. But it works, and in fact, we found ways of making the system sufficiently efficient that we don't need nearly as many balloons as we thought. There have been satellite initiatives, some of which are still to come. There's O3b, which is the other 3 billion satellite system. That's an 8,000-kilometer orbit network of about a dozen satellites. And those things will deliver billion-bit per second spot beams, 10 of them, at 40 degrees north and south of the equator.
Okay.
So there are initiatives along those lines. There's Wi-Fi, which is popping up in many places, unexpectedly. I was in Cuba not too long ago, and I saw Wi-Fi hotspots being made available. People could buy a ticket to get access to the internet from the Wi-Fi hotspot operator. So there's a lot of work going on there, but what the people-centered internet is concerned about is not just the infrastructure that gives people access to and connectivity to the internet, but what do they do with it? Is there any information that they can get that's useful locally? Is it in local languages? Does it take into account what the current economics and culture are of that locale? That's part of the serious focus of attention for PCI, and that's why I'm happy to do this interview and tell people about opportunities to get involved. So if they go to peoplecentered.net, they'll learn a lot more about what we're trying to accomplish.
Let's talk a little bit about the security measures that you guys might be working on or concerned about for putting something out there like the people-centered internet.
Well, if we extend this beyond just the people-centered internet to the more general problem of deploying anything that's internet-enabled, we have a lot of concerns, and this is not just within the PCI, but in general, there's a big concern about safety and security and privacy in the network. People are not going to use this kind of technology unless they feel safe and secure and that it's reliable, that they can depend on it, they can afford it, it's sustainable. So on the security side, and I would add to that safety and security, or privacy, we really need the general public to understand that there are steps that they need to take, not that they can take, but they need to take in order to make themselves safer and more secure. So, for example, you have to be thoughtful about clicking on attachments to email that are, inviting you to do something that you're not sure about. My general practice, frankly, when I get a piece of email that says, oh, this is really amazing, click here, is to forward it back to whoever it appears to have come from and say, did you send this? By the way, don't click on anything.
Yeah.
And that does two things. First of all, it lets me find out if the party actually sent it as opposed to it's a hijack. And second, it puts them on notice that if they didn't send it, somebody else did and their account may be compromised. The second thing that we're big fans of at Google is two-factor authentication. And that means that not only do you have a username and a password, but you have a thing which will generate a cryptographic password or will do an even more elaborate cryptographic exchange to guarantee, or at least increase the probability that you really are the party responsible for that account. I can't overemphasize how powerful that second factor can be, especially if somebody has compromised your account, not because of anything you did, but because of something somebody else did. I mean, you read the headlines, 40 million accounts have been compromised at such and such a company, yours might be included. That's not anything you did.
Yeah.
It's somebody else who messed up. So what you want is a backstop that says even if those kinds of things have been compromised, the second factor is still in your hands, and therefore your account's still safe.
So where are we stage-wise with this PCI?
So PCI has been a sort of a work in progress for about a year now. What we're interested in doing now is working with major institutions. For example, the World Bank has a desire. The government of Singapore has a desire to try to do something in this space. The question is how to help them accomplish that objective.
Okay.
You need feet on the ground. You have to understand what are the conditions locally before you can figure out what's the right strategy and tactic in order to get internet there. So we're interested in working with the agencies that fund major infrastructure. So for example, you're putting in a road system or a dam, which is something the World Bank would typically fund. Why not bring internet capability along with that project?
Okay.
If you build a road, then put in the fiber
Yeah.
along the side of the road. So that's one tactic that we've considered. Another possibility is to look for people with feet on the ground. So look at IEEE with hundreds of thousands of engineers all over the world. Some of them might actually be interested in helping in region or in country or in city or in locale. And so, and we would say the same thing of the Association for Computing Machinery or for the Internet Society and other institutions that are involved in Internet in one way or another.
Okay.
So we're looking for people who want to engage, and we're looking for institutions that have a rationale for underwriting some of the costs. And of course, we're looking for people with the expertise to help train local people to maintain the system.
And that is Vint Cerf. Thank you very much for watching. You can check everything out over at geekazine.com or youtube.com/geekazine. Thanks a lot and geek out.